Welcome, everybody. This is the fourth episode of Rollforming with Ron. I'd like to welcome you all here and also welcome my guest, Tom Laird, today. He's been with NewTek for a while now, and we kind of want to get his history with the company and where he came from, and then we'll just talk about whatever comes up here. So, Tom, welcome, and so let's start out with when you started with NewTek and how you came up through the ranks and where you are today.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. 18 years ago. It'll be 18 years in October that I started with NewTek. And a gentleman who was a salesperson here who has since retired, Patrick Wright. I was friends with Patrick from a previous employer. Mm-hmm. He had reached out to me and said that NewTek was looking for a salesperson and that he really thought I had great sales acumen and would be a good fit for the company. I came in and met yourself and the late Gary Battistella, who's kind of a legend in our industry. And I met Gary and Roger Gear, who was the chief operating officer of NewTek at the time. And funny part of the story is I remember interviewing with Ron and hearing scuttlebutt afterwards that, oh, Ron didn't like you that much. He didn't think you were that great. I'm like, wow. Let me just tell you.
That's true. I mean, I
jokingly, I say that now. I'm kind of like the Tom Brady of NewTek. It was the best decision NewTek ever made. It was to hire me. But Roger and I clicked, and Roger Gear, who I have a great amount of respect for, Roger was the one that really helped put NewTek on the map. Outside of this gentleman here, I mean, Ron Schell is a legend in our industry and is probably more responsible for the innovations that the portable roll-forming industry has seen in the last 30 years and plus. So, I mean, to get a chance to come work for this organization and to work under Ron's tutelage for, many years has just been a blessing to me and is, helped me grow my career and helped me grow the business of NewTek Machinery and, take us from being kind of a small company that we were to where we're at today.
Well, thank you for that plug. That's pretty nice.
It's very true.
You've been good for this company as well, so just...
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You absolutely have, so... I was wrong.
You heard it. It's on recording.
Yeah, it's on recording. So...
But, no, it's... I remember going to my first trade show in the International Roofing Expo back in February or March of 2006. And at that time, NewTek Machinery, we're a pretty small company. I mean, we had a name within the industry, but when you'd go to these international trade shows, we had a small booth and we brought a machine or two, and people, NewTek Machinery, what do you do? What products do you offer? Whereas we go to these trade shows today, we have one of the biggest booths in the show. We're one of the premier exhibitors at these shows. Our booth, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. Our booth is typically one of the busiest booths you'll see throughout the show with thousands of people there.
Just to inject something about the booth, the very first booth that we had, you're not going to believe this, was 2 tires on rims.
I've seen pictures of
with 2 poles and a banner across that said NewTek. That's how we went to the show in the beginning.
I've seen it. Yep, I've seen pictures of that.
We've come a long way since then.
Yeah, we have. So. And I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting to see the growth of this company over the last 18 years that I've been here, and to see how the perception of our company has changed. How at one time, being, kind of very much a niche company, and just a few people that were kind of proponents of our product and our brand, to today where we're the leaders in the industry.
Absolutely.
And, we talk to people around the world. I've been to trade shows in Paris, France, and had people stop us. You NewTek Machinery, we know who you are, and so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's all changed very dramatically in the last 20 years, actually.
Yeah.
Since Roger came on board.
Right.
His vision of where this company should go and how to get there was incredible. I mean, he was a huge player in getting us where we are right now.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah. And not only that, but the fact that one of the beauties of NewTek Machinery as a company and who we are and how we've been able to grow our business is due to the fact that we listen to our customers.
Oh, yeah.
And we listen to what the market was telling us, and we always tried to stay a step ahead. and offered quality equipment at a fair price. And I'm a person that I've always been very ethical in my career as to the type of work that I do. And if I don't believe in the product or I don't believe in the service that the company I'm working for is offering, then I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't lie to people.
I think that's one of the beauties of this company, just like you said, and I think that's one of the reasons that we have had such good retention with people like yourself, right? It's because it's a great place to work. I think the ethics of this company have been right on ticket. I mean, just like you said, we listen to what customers have to say. We actually have built machinery based on what people have asked for. If we think it's a good idea, then yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
And that's how we evolved.
And the Mexico facility, which opened up a year before I came on board, and Raul and the team down there have just done an exemplary job of keeping up with us and allowing us to grow at the rate that we've grown to where we're at today.
Well, and they've expanded our capacities. I mean, gosh, before, if we were able to do 20 machines a month, we were doing good. But look at what we do today. I mean, it's just totally different, totally unique, thanks to Roger's vision of Mexico and what it's turned out to be.
Correct. And I remember sitting in meetings where if we were able to sell X number of machines, or we were able to hit $1 million in sales in a month, that was a huge plateau, and that was a huge accomplishment and achievement for our company. And I look at where we're at today, and they said a world leader in what we do, and internationally recognized, and nobody's perfect, but I know I truly believe this with all my heart, that there's nobody out there like us.
No, I agree with you, 100%. Yep.
And I mean, folks, that's not a sales pitch. Yes, I am in sales, but it is true that.
It's just a feeling everybody has here because of the way we do things.
Right.
It's very, very true.
But yeah, it's exciting. There's never a dull moment. I mean, one of the things that I've learned over the years here, we sell the same types of equipment we have for the last 30 plus years, but our client base is always keeping us on our toes, and there's always some new innovation that we want to look into, or we hear about the next greatest thing, whether it's going to be notching inside of a roofing machine or digital controllers for a seamless gutter machine. I mean, there are things that as time goes on and as machines evolve and AI and all the other innovations that are coming out, I mean, we're going to stay on the cutting edge. We're going to stay in front of all that and always try to be the market leaders. I get asked that quite often. Am I going to be buying a machine that is going to be obsolete in 3 years or in 2 years? And I'm like, the first machine we ever built is still being used today.
Exactly.
So, it'll never be obsolete technology.
No, and that's one thing that we've always done, and that is when we do come out with a new equipment. And for a good example, SSP roof panel machine. We built those for years.
Yep.
There are thousands of those things out there. Well, we came out with a new machine, SSQ machine, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We made the tooling that was used in the SSP machine work in the SSQ machine. I mean, we just do stuff like that. You can convert an SSP machine to accept the tooling and the quick change process of the SSQ. Again, we went into this wanting to do that for all of our customers, so that all of those machines that are out there, they're not just obsolete anymore. We still have parts for them. You can still buy roller sets for them. The shears are the same. I mean, it's just, that's what we do here.
Right.
So it's a very good example. That SSQ is a perfect example of what we just talked about.
Sure. And you know it from being in the sales and service sides of the business that you've been in forever, Ron. I mean, we get calls from guys that have machines that are 20, 25 years old, 30 years old sometimes, and they're still using them. They're out there, and when I'm dealing with new clients or potential clients, they'll ask a lot of times, what's the life expectancy of the machine? I'm like, are you going to take care of it?
There you go.
If you take care of it, it's open-ended. I mean, the machines can last 30 years or more.
Oh, yeah. Another good example of that. I am currently in the process of trying to acquire the very first, and I mean the very first, 5-inch gutter machine that I put out.
Okay.
I mean, it's got.
Wow.
I'm talking to the guy, and I've got it done. He's ready to do this, but I got to get some pictures from him. But so everybody stay tuned, because once that machine gets here, we're gonna go through it a little bit, maybe refurbish it, make it look a little bit better. But he tells me that it runs gutter today. Still, he's still using it. That machine was built in March. It was sold to him in March of 1994 through Custom Built Metals.
All right, so it's almost 30 years old.
And it still works.
Yeah.
So
you see, and and that's that's the beauty of the equipment. Is that, again, it's not going to be obsolete if it's doing what it's designed to do.
Right.
And,
Right.
And you maintain it. It's like I'll tell anyone. It's like owning a car. It's like your house. Anything else. There's going to be some maintenance required to keep the thing running properly.
Yeah, I mean, if you drive your car and never change the oil on it, it just doesn't last you very long.
Correct.
Yeah. And it's no different.
And the funny thing is, over the years, seeing customers bring in their machines, and a guy will bring in their machine that's 20 years old, which looks like they bought it yesterday.
Yeah.
And then you'll see a guy that brings in his machine that he bought a year ago, and it looks like it's been sitting at the bottom of a river for 20 years.
Right, like he drug it in here in the chain behind his truck.
Like, really? And I think that's kind of part of what keeps our job interesting and keeps us on our toes. Is that some people view the machinery like a Ferrari, and they baby that thing, and it's their lifeblood.
Well, it's a moneymaker. That's their livelihood. Sure. If it's not working,
but then
what?
You have other people that treat them like a hammer.
I know.
Smack it for a few. Give it the old Arthur Fonzarelli whack and think it's going to start up again. I mean, it's funny the way the differences that you see in the people and how they treat their equipment and how they expect their equipment to perform for them.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So let's talk about the P to Q transition. I mean, you were here when we did that.
I was. Yeah.
I had the vision of doing that many years ago and just never got to it. But when Roger came on board and I shared that all with him, he was very interested in it, and he ended up turning us loose on it.
Well,
so with the help of all the engineers we have, of course, I'm not an engineer, so I can't do all of that stuff.
But he plays one on TV, folks.
But, I had some ideas, and we just kind of put this all together, and, I mean, it changed the industry.
Oh,
that machine has totally changed this industry.
It's easy to look back on, when was that, 15 years ago that we introduced it, in 2008?
Yeah.
It's easy to look back now and think, well, big deal. Well, to put that in perspective, it was like going from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age. I mean, it was literally,
it really was.
It was that big of a paradigm shift in the industry. And even to this day, there's not another machine out there, regardless of manufacturer, that is truly as simple to change over as the SSQ format. I mean, yes, they're Schlebach Quadro machines on cassettes, but folks, don't let them fool you. That cassette system isn't quite as simple as they make it all sound. Mm-hmm. But the accuracy, the precision of what it is, and how we came about developing it, and the fact that soon after we did it, we told folks that owned SSPs for the last 10, 15 years that, guess what? We can make your machine do the same thing.
That's right.
With a small upgrade as opposed to buying a brand new machine.
Yep.
But in my career at New Tech, that was probably the biggest event that's happened.
Oh yeah,
is
I
having
agree.
The introduction of the SSQ, because the one thing we would always hear from customers, an SSP machine was capable of doing 10 or 11 different profiles at the time. We quit making
it was 11,
them.
I think, yeah.
And it would require two people, literally a half day to a full day, depending on their level of experience. In one of your previous videos, I know Nate talks about it.
Yeah.
It was a process. It was an involved process, and it was very much a tinkering sort of thing.
Well, it was very labor intensive.
Right.
And then when you got done with it, if you didn't know how to make it work, if you didn't know how to line it, you still had time to.
And they're great machines. Don't get us wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, SSPs were revolutionary in their own way, and there are folks out there today that still use them. But being able to go from having two people and a half day to a full day of changing a profile to one guy in 45 minutes
With
changing
one
the
wrench,
profile.
one wrench.
Yeah, again, like I said, a huge paradigm shift in our industry, and a huge boost for our product line and our name in the industry. And again, we've had imitators and competitors try to knock it off, but even to this day, there's nobody that has it as precise and as easy to do.
No, and the precision is there. I mean, if you do this right, and it's very simple to do, install the roller set in there and install it correctly, and it runs.
I love to tell them,
it's,
yep.
you know.
I love to tell customers at trade shows that are looking inside the machines and they're like, well, how easy to change over? I said, literally, I could go outside, find a bum on a street corner and say, hey, come on in here, I want to teach you how to do this. And in 10, 15 minutes, I could really explain to them how the profile changes over inside the machine. Yeah. Might be a little bit more intensive, getting them to change the shear dies and things like that. But
but the tooling itself, that was the big thing.
Correct.
That was
Correct.
the 3
the
to
shear
5
dies
hour
is going to be the same
process.
regardless of machine.
Yeah.
In a post-cut operation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's been great.
But the only thing that I can compare the change from an SSP to an SSQ would be the introduction of the board and batten. I mean, that to me has been the most exciting and innovative thing that we've done in the last 18 years. I mean, the market, obviously there was a market demand for it that we knew was kind of there, and it was kind of on the underground of things. But as soon as the announcement got out that was coming, oh my gosh, Katie barred the doors. It's, everybody wanted it, and it's even right now. I mean, it's been on the market now for several months, and every day there's somebody calling me, I need a machine that can do a board and batten profile. And it's like, not only do I have a machine that can do that, but it does 15 other profiles too.
Yeah, that's the huge thing.
And that's the big thing for a lot of these people, is that you can get one machine that's capable of doing your wall profiles, your roofing profiles, specialty profiles.
Siding.
Correct. It really changes the game. Now, is it a $30,000 or $40,000 machine? No. But guess what? I have one machine that for under $100,000 it's going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, just think of if you needed to do a roof panel and a wall panel, and you'd have a separate machine for all of that stuff.
Correct, and that's
we're selling you one machine, and then you just buy the tooling as you need it and add it.
Exactly.
Right. So you don't have to buy tooling until you bid a job, and 6 months later when it's going to come up. So 3 months you get it. They call back and said, "Yeah, you got the job. You order the roller set, and away you go."
Right, and from a sales perspective, that's exactly how I present it to a lot of our prospective clients. Is that you can go out and buy a board and batten machine. I can buy a 1-inch mechanical standing seam machine. The problem is, do you have room in your shop for all that? You have double the maintenance. You have, as I said, double the storage space, and you still have machines that are going to be limited in what their capacities are capable of doing. Whereas an SSQ machine kind of gives you the best of everything. You have a machine that in the morning you can go run your board and batten siding profile for a residential project you have. In the afternoon, you can be out running a 2.5-inch trapezoid profile for some large commercial job that you've got.
Yeah.
So I mean
I mean, it's like it's been said before,
like
and maybe you came up with that saying. I mean, it's either you or Patrick. You can actually change tooling sets on the side of a mountain.
Oh yeah, no, I say that. Yeah, you can change them on. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're.
So it doesn't matter where you're at, as long as you got the set with you and you got one wrench with you. You're in golden, man.
Yeah, and again, that's different than anybody else out there.
Absolutely.
And like I said, there are competitors and there are people out there that have, kind of glommed onto what we do, and but they haven't.
Nobody's been able to come up with anything better than what we've done.
No, and nothing is versatile. And that's the other beauty of it. Like I said, a 2.5-inch trapezoid profile, a 1-inch or 1.5-inch wall soffit panel profile, a board and batten vertical siding profile, to a 1-inch snap lock with a nail fin on it. I mean, the machine's capable of doing it all.
It covers the whole gamut. I mean, it really does.
And there's a reason that we've become the market leader, and that's because of machines like that. And because of Ron being able to have the vision and the wherewithal to be able to put that all together and put that out for the market.
But again, that all of those things that we do come from listening to customers. What do you need out there? What do they ask for stuff. Can you do this? Can you do that? And eventually we get around to it. If it's a good idea, that's where all that comes from.
Sure.
Yep. I mean.
And then 4 or 5 years ago, we introduced the notching.
Yeah.
We came up with, it was funny because I remember sitting in marketing and team discussions about the SSQ and how we had a lot of demand for developing a notching into the machine. And well, what do we call it? And we call it the SSN. What do we do? And the funny thing is it's still an SSQ. And that's what I have to explain to everybody. It's still an SSQ machine. Yeah. We had to modify the frame slightly to accommodate the notching cartridges and to accommodate the angle slitter at the other end. But it still accepts the same toolings.
Yeah, the internals of it are the same as a Q. It is a Q.
Yeah, if you have a 10-year-old SSQ machine, the toolings from that are still going to fit into an SSQ II machine today. Yeah. And so again, we're not leaving our existing client base in the cold. We're able to still integrate that and show them that, you know, this is where the future of roof panel machines is going.
I mean, and that's why people jump on with us, because they know we do that.
Right.
You know? Some of these people that had SSPs still have them, but they've now got into the SSQ generation, and then some of them changed that SSP over so that the tooling is the same for all of those machines.
Correct.
It's just what we do.
Yeah.
You know?
And to see that kind of again, another kind of paradigm shift in the marketplace to be able to do that in an SSQ machine. You know, I'll be the first to say the notching machine isn't for everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be a specialized market, at least up front. I can see in the next 10 years as the labor force changes and other developmental changes within technology that we'll sell more notching machines just because of the demand and the lack of the skilled laborers to be able to that are still doing it.
And that's a big part of that machine is the skilled labor to operate it.
Correct.
You know.
And but you know, and new tech machinery is not perfect. Our first few notching machines, I know we had glitches with, and you know, we had customers that weren't happy. But that's again the beauty of new tech machinery is that we never turned our back on anyone.
No, we just don't hang you out there and say, "Well, it is what it is. I can't fix it." We come up with a solution.
We'll make sure that in the end you have a machine that you're happy with.
Yeah.
And you know that again that speaks to our company and our leadership and you know the way we operate. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, the Mazzella side of this allows us to do all of that stuff. I mean, you know, it's not something that just happens. It's you have to actually take action and want to do that and make it happen. And Mazzella does that. You know, they have the same philosophy. They've carried the new tech philosophy through the takeover of New Tech.
Absolutely.
And it's remained the same, and that's the beauty of this.
Yeah, and for you to bring that up, I mean, you know, I was around for the Mazzella acquisition in 2015, and the beauty of it is that it couldn't have been a more seamless transition.
Right.
Because they knew that we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
And they weren't coming in here and dictating to us, oh, we're going to change this, we're going to change that, and you're going to... No, over time it's been where we've integrated more fully into the umbrella of the Mazzella companies, but they've always let us do what we do best.
We've maintained the new tech identity.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you know, credit to Mazzella companies for recognizing that and understanding that, you know, here's a brand that has great recognition and a great value and a great name for itself, and let's just only expand on that. And that's, you know, they've allowed us to do things that as a company, we probably never would have been able to.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be a better marriage. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so, I mean, that's been a great fit. And you know, funny story. I remember years ago, gosh, probably over 10 years ago, going to a dinner with Tony Mazzella, who's the CEO of Mazzella Companies, and Mike Blake, who was the head of Sheffield Metals, and Roger Gear and myself went to dinner one night. And years later, Tony leaned over to me and goes, "You remember that night we all went to dinner?" He goes, "That was the night I thought I wanted to buy new tech machinery." And I was like, "Wow, really? That must have made a good impression on you then." So, but you know, and you know, Tony's vision of where Mazzella Companies has gone from, you know, 10 years ago to today. I mean, you know, we have a huge footprint, whether it's in the metal industries between Sheffield Metals and new tech machinery, to the lifting technologies and the crane technologies that you know, kind of been the focus and the specialties of Mazzella Companies.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has, you know, like I said, it couldn't have been a better marriage.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. Totally agree. Great company.
Yep. One funny story about New Tech Machinery, and since I've been with the company for 18 years, is that Ron, I don't know that you've ever done any trade shows or anything with the company.
One.
Just the one that was here locally.
The one that was here in Denver.
'Cause Ron's not the traveling guy. He's not a fan of the airplanes and all that. So he typically doesn't do the trade shows. But almost every trade show I ever go to, people are like, well, I met Ron Schell at this trade show last year. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah. You didn't see me there.
Yeah, no. I'm like, unless you dreamed it. You know,
Well, they don't even know what it looked like, so they would have no way of knowing.
Zoom call with him or something that you're forgetting about. But you know, Ron is such a legend in our industry that over the last 30 plus years, just about every one of our customers has had contact with Ron one way or the other through the phone or an email or whatever it is. But you're a legend that everybody thinks they know personally. And I'm like, chances are, unless you've been to our factory, you never met Ron.
That's true.
And I always get a kick out of that. And I've joked that we should have a cardboard cutout of you. We can put it in our booth, and people go get their picture with you or something. I think that'd be funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the one show that was here. That was
and that was in 2014.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that show is at the time I was playing in the Beatles tribute band.
Oh, that's right.
If you remember.
I do remember, yeah.
I played George Harrison in the Beatles tribute band for 8 years. And
they were great, by the way.
We performed at MetalCon the first night. So I worked the trade show booth that afternoon and then ran into the Bat Cave and changed into my Beatles outfit and ran up and played a party for about 700-800 people.
Yeah.
As I recall.
That was awesome.
And that was a lot of fun. And that was the only trade show that Ron attended personally because it was here in Denver. So I'll never forget that.
And that was the second time I'd heard you play.
Yeah. And so hopefully that we'll get other trade shows here in the Denver area in the not too distant future. So calling out to IRE and MetalCon, Denver's waiting for you.
There you go.
So come on back. And,
there you go.
And then, of course, I'm not in the Beatles tribute band anymore, but I can perform solo for a small fee. So our customer base over the years has evolved a little bit. I mean, the thing that I've probably noticed the most, Ron, is that with the kind of the maturation of our website and the information that we put on there, that we can always steer folks there to get more information that they would have otherwise had to speak to you on the phone about, or those sort of things. But I've noticed that that's also led to kind of a customer that necessarily up front isn't doing the legwork that they used to do before they would buy a machine. They just call you and say, hey, I hear you guys make a good machine, or I think I want to get a machine, tell me about it. And I've definitely noticed that kind of change in the marketplace over the last 18 years. Mm-hmm. One area where we've had a great amount of client growth is in the Amish communities. And dealing
absolutely.
with Amish and Mennonites and those sorts of groups. I remember 10, 11 years ago, we used to have a marketing girl, Kristen, who we decided we were going to advertise in the Amish magazine, the Connection. Yeah. And we started putting advertising in there, and we noticed that we were getting a spike in business from the Amish community from that. Yeah. So Kristen and I had the idea of, let's make it like an ad where it was like a connect the dots, and we could have the Amish kids, connect the dots and draw a little gutter machine. And
you had them color it.
Yeah, well, we asked them to color it and send it back to New Tech.
I remember we had a whole wall of that stuff.
We had walls covered, hundreds. Hundreds of them. And what we did is we would tell the kids, fill this, do the connect the dots and color it in and send it to New Tech Machinery for a free prize. Yeah. And we literally
with a top or something, wasn't it?
We gave them crayons.
Crayons, that's what it was.
We also gave them tops for a little while, but we gave them a little pack of crayons. And we literally had hundreds of these on our walls, in every color combination you could imagine. And every now and then you'd see one that was gray and had the logo in blue.
Oh, it looked like one of our machines.
You knew their dad had one of our machines just because you could tell by the how detailed the coloring was.
Yeah, they're sitting right in front of the thing. Right?
And that was I look back on that now and how big of a deal that was to ingratiate ourselves into that community.
Absolutely. And look where it's led us.
Now. We have our Amish distributor Formrite, Larry Schlebach and Orv Schlebach, just killing it out there, just selling the heck out of our machines. And have established kind of a national network of Amish clients because they're based in Indiana and they're Amish. They don't work on the internet. They don't travel all over the country all the time, servicing machines. But they've established a niche and they have the trustworthiness. And I remember when Larry first came to us, because Larry had had a few of our machines.
Yeah.
And he approached me, 5 years ago with the idea of wanting to be a distributor. And I've talked to a lot of people over the years that say they want to be distributors. And so you kind of dig in a little bit and you try to find out what are they going to be able to offer and what is their vision for being a distributor and how they think they're going to grow their business as well as ours with that. And Larry struck me as, this guy has a vision, has an idea, and little did we know. I mean,
he's been a very
our wildest dreams.
Yeah, he's been one of the better distributors we've ever had.
Yeah, and they've gone from being just a small little kind of metal roofing outfit to now having a metal roofing division, a machine sales division, a coil division.
Yeah, he's done everything.
And so I'm, that's kind of a neat thing to think because I love to talk to friends and people in the industry that how our Amish connections work, and it fascinates people because they, there's so little known about the Amish community and how they work together and how different Amish branches and Amish sects.
Yeah, they're all different. I mean, the different sects are different.
Correct, and yet they all and that was one of the things that Larry told me up front, Tom. Yeah, you guys sell to the Amish now, but there are a lot of Amish people that won't buy from you because they only buy from Amish people.
Yeah,
they want to stick within their own community, and kudos to New Tech for having the courage to take the step there. But now
he's ran with it. They ran with it.
Now it's like one of the best decisions we ever made.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, I don't think Orv and Larry will get to see this because I don't think they get to watch videos on.
Well, when they come here, we can show them.
Yeah, I'll show them because they come out here at least once or twice a year for training. But.
And then, kind of along those same lines, I think, and you mentioned this, the internet has definitely changed our clientele
and the buying patterns.
Everybody is able to look up everything they ever want to know about our equipment as far as what it can do and which machine to buy. And there are all those blogs and all the stuff that goes along with that to help them make decisions and make the right decisions, and all the videos that we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just huge. I don't know that there's another roll forming company out there that has done as much in that arena as we have.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's not. 'Cause I check that pretty regularly because I want to see
I think that's huge.
what's out there. Yeah.
And
again, that speaks to Mazzella companies and the visions that they've had for all the subsidiary companies that they have we have.
I mean, and that's throughout the Mazzella companies. It's not just us.
No, correct.
I mean, that's completely across the whole gamut. That's been done.
Yeah,
so
and again, that's
awesome.
why we talk about us staying on the cutting edge and always trying to be a step ahead. And I think we've lapped the field in that way. There's no doubt. So
I agree. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning into this 4th episode of Roll Forming with Ron. I'd like to thank my guest Tom Laird. Awesome, great.
Thanks, Ron.
Good.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So like us on Facebook.
YouTube.
I always say Facebook. Why is that?
You can say watch our
like us on FaceTime.
What's that?
You can say watch us on YouTube or on newtechmachinery.com, and we'll see you guys next
All right. So,
like us on social media.
There you go. That's easier, right?
You're covered.
Like us on social media. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Oh, gosh. I'm just not doing this right. So,
on behalf of Ron Schell and myself, we'd like to thank you for tuning in today.
There you go. Thanks,
and
Tom.
don't forget to like us on all the social media platforms possible because we always appreciate that. Stay tuned for the next episode with Ron.
There it is.